Some of my fondest memories come from the years I spent attending college. But beyond the warm reminiscence these recollections arouse, they make me realize many years later just how important my college experience was. So I congratulate you for making the decision to attend college, Bethel College, this year, especially in the midst of a pandemic. I believe then it is fitting to take a few minutes to talk some about how to attend Bethel College during a pandemic. But first, why attend college at all during a pandemic? Some would say it's too risky to go to college at this time. My answer, wear a mask, keep 6 feet away from people, and frequently clean your hands. Now, it's all right to be a bit anxious, but don't let it paralyze you. At least this lesson is what I learned from my son, Paul. He believes that it is unwise to be scared of things you can't control. It's better to take charge of what you can control and be smart about the rest. Some of you may remember Paul from my convocation address 1 year ago. He just had received a liver transplant after being told 3 weeks earlier that he would not survive much longer and he should enter hospice. But a year later, after an excruciatingly slow but steady recovery, he leads a fairly normal life with the help of a multitude of medicines that compromise his immune system. Plus, he receives dialysis twice a week because his kidneys were severely damaged by his acute liver failure. But other than that, his life is fairly normal. He lives at home, he walks, he fixes his own meals, and he drives. And where does he drive? His most frequent destination is the doctor, at a clinic, at a hospital, at the ER, the places where people with COVID-19 concentrate in high numbers. And I forgot to mention where he lives, Houston, Texas. Recently, his red blood cell count fell dangerously low. He was in dire need of a blood transfusion, so his doctor directed him to go to the ER. At the nearest distance marker to him was a man continuously coughing and hacking, complaining about various maladies. But my son needed blood, so there he was in a situation out of his control. It's good he was smart, or rather that he used what he learned from his doctors. He was wearing a mask, kept 6 feet away from the man, and kept his hands clean. It's really quite simple. It is for him. It is for me. It is for you. So be smart. Okay. Why then should you be here during a pandemic? Well, there are economic reasons. College is expensive. Yes, very expensive. But the economic benefits outweigh the costs. Study after study show that those who graduate from college earn considerably more over their lifetimes than those who don't. Of course, we all know the exceptions. For example, there is my father. College was out of the question for him. Yet despite that disadvantage, he became successful at sales and established considerable economic security for his family. But as in many cases, the exceptions, like my dad, prove the rule. College is a good economic decision. And to delay college even a year could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your life. But even more importantly, from my perspective, are the human reasons for attending college, especially during a pandemic. At college, you will learn to be a more complete human. The result of this income, in part, is from all of your coursework. Here are some examples of how this truth will play out in each area of your education. In your arts and humanities courses, you will learn from the wisdom of the past and the best thinking of the present to be a person that is culturally cognizant, societally sensitive, and relationally relevant and reliable. In short, you'll become a better person, one who is able to understand better the human condition and the meaningful solutions to its real problems. In your math and science courses, you will learn to think carefully and critically. You will recognize the importance of testing theories and precise methodology that requires collaboration and consensus. Consequently, you will learn the importance of acknowledging and accounting for your presuppositions and then living with a generous amount of intellectual humility. In your social science and human services courses, you will learn the importance of and process for serving others effectively, measured not only by your economic gain, but by the ways in which you relate to others with care, compassion, and the highest level of ethics. And in doing so, you will be prophetic examples of grace, love, and truth. College will have that kind of profound impact on you, so it's important that you are here. But can't I get that from distance education, from an exclusively online education? Maybe, and some must. But the impact, both economically and especially from a human perspective of a residential college experience, I would contend, is more pronounced. Here you will benefit from skills coming from your experiences with mentoring faculty members in classroom discussions, from helpful friends in residence hall conversations, from participation in convocation, chapel, music, theater, and forensics, from opportunities with athletics, clubs and associations, and even from eating in the caf and working around campus. All of these activities carried out among a diverse student body in a welcoming environment. In other words, you will be able to benefit from a concentrated dose of living in various relationships. You and others connecting with one another in different ways, preparing you for a lifelong journey of maneuvering through the complexities of helping each other to be the very best for each other. It seems self-evident to me that we need each other in these ways, and that college without the buzz of ongoing relationship building will only impoverish one in ways that are too great to adequately measure. Indeed, I believe the thing I missed the most during the lockdown was people. See, I live alone. My kids are grown and gone, and my wife lives in Houston with my son serving as his caretaker as he awaits a kidney transplant. I experienced what the author of the biblical book of Genesis wrote millennia ago. It is not good for a person to be alone. To be in meaningful relationship with people may be our greatest need, and the lack of it our greatest fear. Here then is perhaps the most compelling reason to be here at Bethel, in person, not in spite of the pandemic, but because of the pandemic. For if we can't learn to be humans in relationship now, when it is most desperately needed, will we be prepared when it is next needed? Or perhaps even more importantly, will we be prepared to live as humans when this pandemic passes, when our self-sufficiency creeps back into our psyches and we are tempted daily with the folly of living by the creed of radical autonomy, forgetting the importance of living in meaningful relationship with one another? So, now, more than ever, we need to be with one another in this community of learning and humanity, absorbing, discussing, pushing, and growing. But how, then, do we regulate ourselves in community so that we are controlled by what Abraham Lincoln, as the threat of civil war loomed, called the better angels of our nature? In other words, how do we attend Bethel College during a pandemic, when so much is uncertain and so many are anxious, especially when we realize that developing relationships is so important to the college experience? Perhaps we can find some direction in the Bible verse found on our school seal, written by a follower of Jesus named Paul. No one can lay any foundation other than the one that has been laid. That foundation is Jesus Christ. It is not my intent to fully unpack the meaning of that statement, but only insofar as it has a bearing on what Paul, on another occasion, wrote to a group of Jesus followers that couldn't seem to understand the importance of living rightly in relationships. At that time, Paul appealed to the foundation of Jesus Christ in the form of Jesus' example when giving them counsel for how to live with one another. He wrote, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interest of others." These words are similar to what he wrote to another assembly of Jesus followers who were struggling with which group among them was the rightful heir to God's promises. Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought to think. Let love be genuine. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not be haughty. Do not claim to be wiser than you are. If I could sum up the desired outcome of these exhortations in one word, it would be humility. Perhaps we need two words, amounting to a redundant phrase to bring out the intended impact: deferential humility. Or should we use the two words that Paul used? Genuine love. Not romantic love, not erotic love, not sexual love, not conditional love, not love and suspicion, not love and cynicism, not love and judgment, not love and discord. No, genuine love. So I commend you to the example of Jesus and the words of Paul. Love, genuine love. Love builds relationships. Love is produced by relationships. And it is the promise of building and being built up by these relationships that will enable your education not only to give you economic security, but also to provide you with the possibility of developing into a more complete human. Here then is not only why you are here, but how we all should be here. You've made an excellent choice to attend college, Bethel College. Now, you will learn unique lessons that will only be possible for this brief period of a pandemic. Lessons that will make your education, your Bethel education, truly remarkable and a basis for your fond memories.